Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Morinzi. We begin with our top stories. Cameroonians continue to pour out their reactions on social media platforms and even in the streets, disclosing their bitterness against the practice of homosexuality any part across the world. They have saluted the Minister of External Relations for his standpoint, which reiterates that Cameroon does not and will never promote same-sex relationship. And on the occasion of the World Music Day this June 21, the newsroom carries us to where music is being prepared. That is in a recording studio. In this edition, we'll have reactions of some artists in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Cameroonians continue to pour out their reactions on social media platforms and even in the streets with regards to the fact that or disclosing their bitterness against the practice of homosexuality in any part around the world. They have saluted the Minister of External Relations, a standpoint which reiterates that Cameroon does not and will never promote same-sex relationship. More in the following story. On social media platforms and on the streets of Douala, Cameroonians continue to salute government's measures through the Minister of External Relations, vehemently opposing a planned conference by French envoy in Cameroon on homosexuality, a conference that was supposed to focus on the situation of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, LGBTQ in Cameroon and related issues.
The minister just do what is right. The president, the SNC Paul Biya have already refused it. That the homosexuality cannot be possible in Cameroon. So it's not possible that the minister do otherwise.
I'm very, very okay with the government of Cameroon to ban that envoy because I think this issue is going to filter into our tradition, which as we grew up as children, we've never learned that things like that are existing.
In a document signed by Cameroon's Minister of External Relations, Lejeune Belambela maintains Cameroon's stance against the promotion of homosexuality. We spoke to Cameroonians who praised the move and insisted that the country does not and will not promote same-sex relationships.
If we allow it, means is to limit the population because two men can't give a children. Two women can give a children. So normally, the thing has a big impact if we accept this type of situation.
I think it's confusion. They are trying to confuse the human existence. I think if there's going to be a march against that, I should be one of the people who should stand in front.
It should be recalled the former Archbishop of the Douala Archdiocese, Prelate Christian Cardinal Tous, backed by thousands of other religious leaders and Christians, once led a march in the streets of Douala against homosexuality. He described it as despicable, shameful, devilish, abominable, and against societal values and biblical norms. The recent opposition to the planned visit by the French official highlights the position of many other African countries to protect what they consider salient cultural values. And to talk more about homosexuality banned by the Cameroonian law, we caught up with a barrister, Eno Valerici. He talks on sections of the law that actually sanctions homosexuality in Cameroon.
It is a serious offense in Cameroon. It's a misdemeanor. Section 347(1) provides that whoever has sexual relation with a person of the same sex shall be punished with imprisonment from 6 months to 5 years and a fine of from 20,000 francs to 200,000 francs. What is the implication of that law? It means that if persons of the same sex, for example, two men indulge in the act of having sex, that act is homosexuality. It is an offense and is punishable by the laws of this nation. The minimum sentence the two persons will have at the end of the trial, if they are found guilty, is 6 months. And the minimum amount they'll be asked to pay, if found guilty, is 20,000 francs. And at most, they'll be asked to pay a fine of 200,000 francs and serve a sentence, an imprisonment sentence of 5 years. The reason behind this is to deter.
Some 2,685 positions are now available for recruitment into the public services 2023. Out of this number, 2,235 are for new recruits and 450 places for professional competitive entrance examinations. The information was disclosed by the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reform, Joseph Le, this June 21, the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. This new development this year is a reinstatement of professional competitive entrance examination frozen since 2019. More on the story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
The total number of persons to be recruited into the public services 2023, 2,608, 2,235, and professional competitive exams, 450. From the 2,235 new recruits, 2,100 competitive exams.
Agriculture, rural engineering, mining and geology, industrial techniques, water and forestry, civil engineering, livestock and maritime fishing, animal industries, public health, telecommunications techniques, revenue services, information technology, and teleinformatics.
275 recruitment of student civil servants for the mainstream section of ENAM. Others are 60 opening for special recruitment of legal professionals, student court registrars of the common law section of ENAM. Opening for state employees governed by the labor code also. Slight increase in direct training compared to previous years. The new development this year is the reinstatement of professional competitive exams frozen since 2019.
Civil servants who have already been working and waiting for several years now have an opportunity to progress in their careers.
Speaking during a press briefing this June 21st in Yaoundé, the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reform, Joseph Le, says it is in line with practical procedures for implementing the cost of administrative competitive exams.
60% allocated to the organization of competitive examination and 40% to be transferred to the public treasury.
This following approval from the Prime Minister last June 6, 2023.
Illegal medication worth 3 million francs CFA have been seized and destroyed in Bafoussam West region of Cameroon. It is an operation jointly carried out by the military and custom officials. It's aimed at cleansing the sector of expired and fake drugs. More in the following story. In the 2 military trucks, our consignment of illegal goods reportedly intercepted and seized from unscrupulous dealers worth over 3 million francs CFA. On the streets of Bafoussam, it is common to find such illegal sale of goods, some of which have expired, but continue to be sold to the population who can hardly detect goods of doubtful quality. An operation carried out by customs and military officials. It took them weeks to track down dealers of such fake and expired pharmaceutical products. The dealers were nabbed during the routine surveillance controls thanks to tip-off.
La saisie d'aujourd'hui découle.
The interception and seizure follows days of research and denunciation by the population, but it required a lot of patience on our part. The medications seized are of doubtful quality, which means it's not fit for consumption. Most of those drugs have expired. Our role too is to watch over the health of our population. This explains our actions on the field. It is a vast network that needs to be cracked down as the perpetrators will face the law. The next move is for us to proceed with the immediate destruction of these fake pharmaceutical products. In Bafoussam, roadside medications are growing by the day. Eradicating the phenomenon seems a tough task for the administration. Students have been told holidays is not a moment for them to go uncontrollable, but also a time for them to help or assist their parents at home. Some government schools have given a recognition to hard working students this academic year, who are urging others to use the holidays to improve on their studies. One of those schools is Government Bilingual Technical School Yaoundé. The details with Hyson Cha.
It was a caution and an advisory session for the thousands of students of Government Bilingual Technical High School Yaoundé as they depart for the third term rest.
As they are going on holiday, they should know that outside there is not a bed of roses, that they should take all the precaution to make sure they maintain good behaviors that they have been maintaining within the school here, and that they should be exemplary this time around to help their parents at home.
An occasion to acknowledge hard work from both the students and teachers who gave in their best during the just ended academic year.
In spite of the hurdles we encountered within the school year, with loss of some of our colleagues, but yet we still stood the test of time to make sure we round up the year in a grand style, and that's what we are doing today, to promote excellence.
An action the laureates describe as a push for more hard work.
I'm telling thank you to God to give me the life that I'm having today. There are people that wanted to drag me in bad things, but only God that knows. I'm very happy.
When they say congratulations, it means that you should work harder. Yes, what it means to me is that I should keep going harder, higher. Yes, I should not relent. Because when you say thank you, it means give me more. So congratulations means do more. So I'm ready to do my best.
The forum, this June 21st, was graced by the Mfundi Divisional Delegate of Secondary Education, who dished out a word of orientation for students transiting from secondary to higher education to remain focused and make the right choices.
The proliferation of clandestine schools remains disturbing the littoral region. 98 of such illegal schools are said to be operating this year in the littoral region, a problem that puts government at a tight corner in terms of measures in eradicating such schools. This problem and many others were diagnosed at the regional committee meeting for private education in the littoral region. More in the following story. Of the 523 secondary schools in the littoral region, 315 are private secondary schools. The number, according to education officials, keep increasing each year. But the most disturbing issue remains the growing number of clandestine schools. This year, the littoral region alone counts 98 clandestine schools, up from 35 some 5 years ago. The regional delegate for secondary education is disturbed. The problem remains crucial yet long-standing. It has proven tough for the administration to handle the situation once and for all. Big question is, why the administrative tolerance? Besides the problem of clandestine schools, many other challenges abound, including the non-payment of salaries and disregard for the minimum wage. Proprietors are against government for imposing 60,000 francs minimum salary.
This measure was taken without consulting with us, so we are still to meet the authorities that be to iron issues and let them explain to us on the basis of.
These problems and more are being diagnosed in a regional committee meeting for private education in the littoral region this June 21. The main issue here is how to ameliorate training in private secondary schools.
we accept, then we apply it.
The private secondary education sector is known for its excellent results in official examinations. The sector has always been classified among the best in the last 5 years, in spite of the hurdles. And close to 600 new batch of military graduates from the Marwa Salak Training Center in the far north region of Cameroon have been reminded of their responsibilities to maintain peace and security in the country. The call was made during a ceremony in Marwa, June 20, to hand over their end of course certificates. Gladys Abodiba completes that story.
There are close to 600 non-commissioned officers of the Rapid Intervention Battalion who have completed a 5-month training at the Marwa Salak Training Center in the far north region of Cameroon.
Les 5 premiers des différents stages ainsi qu'il suit. Pour le BA2, premier sous-officier élève Kout Compet Ricardo.
The commander of the training center, Tapele Umaru, told Major General Philip Pai, who chaired the ceremony in Marwa, June 20, 2023, that the young commissioned officers are now ready to effectively carry out assigned operational missions. He called on the graduates to put into practice instructions they received during the training and contribute effectively in times of peace, just like in times of war.
And on the occasion of World Music Day, observed this June 21, the newsroom carried us to where music is being prepared at East, a home-based studio at the Kondingi neighborhood in Yaoundé. Her story. We're talking about a World Music Day, which is observed this June 21, and our newsroom carrier Yaoundé, our reporter Beatrice Angamo takes us inside a home-based studio at the Kondingi neighborhood in Yaoundé. Her story.
Kondingi neighborhood in Yaoundé, we are at a residential house with space enough for its home recording studio. Here, all is set: desktop computer, digital audio, workstation, microphones, mixing board, sound systems, instruments, and others. This day, when the world is celebrating music, June 21st, Coco La Gloire walks into the studio with her new song, her 2-day-old baby, Vanity, a gospel blend with Bikusi background. Her voice is accompanied by instruments to add to the sound, bringing out the sweetness, especially at the bass, alongside other arrangements. Very difficult stage, according to the sound engineer, as it will be done over and over to get the tick of the music.
On ressent du Bikusi, mais il y a autre chose qui est.
We feel Bikusi, but there is something within, which is gospel. We should stay with the taste in such a way that when we listen to the melody, we know it is Bikusi, in line with the words the artist gives.
En fonction des paroles dont l'artiste donne.
Like material, are technicians also. And a team that is the recording engineer, mixing engineer, producer, needs to understand their code, when to step in. Here, the role of the instrumentalist cannot be overemphasized. He accompanied the artist with guitar, voice, a source of rhythm. So too, pianist, solist, bassist.
On réécoute, on commence à faire ce qu'on appelle la censure.
This tells of the cost, which is huge also. The work this far, encouraging.
On a commencé le travail et tout se passe bien.
energized they are as they enjoy the new soundtrack on this day of music festival.
And on World Music Day, our reporter Kejang Henry Atembe looks at Cameroonian music and a royalty scandal. Let's take a listen. It's unfortunate we can't have that story from Kejang Henry Atembe, and that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast, the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is The Brief. We have a special program on World Music Day. It is also the launch of Canal this Wednesday on World Music Day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.